This episode of Sips is brought to you by Limerick Brewing Company, but it could be you. We are seeking sponsorships and have a variety of advertisement spots available. Message us for more information. Welcome back to Sips. This week's special guest is the owner of Terra Ferment and a key contributor to the Springfield Oyster and Beer Festival. Please welcome Bill Tubbs.
All right, you ready?
Go for it.
Okay, all right. Welcome to another episode of Sips, where we have good beer and even greater company. So today we have with us Bill Tubbs, a native of Lincoln, but also a bar owner himself, Terra Ferment on the square down in Springfield, and then also on the planning and execution committee for Springfield Oyster and Beer Festival, which is coming up last weekend in August.
Yep.
So Colleen is not here today. We killed her. And we'll be just moving on with just Troy and I.
So it's not just today.
Not just today.
We're still digging the hole.
Colleen who? All right. So Bill, let's start with Terra Ferment. Tell us about it, where it is, and all that stuff.
Terra Ferment is the bar that I opened in Springfield in late February of 2020. Great move, I know, good timing. After I had retired from working for the state for 27 years. And I opened the bar I wanted to go to because there wasn't one like it. So, and here we are 4.5 years in and survived COVID, survived a pipe breaking earlier this year.
Wow.
And but it's just been fun trying to do something a little bit different and try to provide beers from all around the world as much as I can and give people an alternative to go to in Springfield.
So your niche, though, is maybe beers that people haven't had or not easy to find.
I set out to try to always have classic styles of European beers along with as many relatively Midwestern beers as possible. But from breweries that maybe you're not familiar with, or a beer from a brewery you are familiar with, but not a particular beer from them.
Gotcha.
I just make a couple of examples. Something like Blue Moon is available absolutely everywhere. So I carry Hoegaarden, which is the Belgian beer that it's based on. That's important to me for people to know that it came from somewhere. Classic lagers are becoming very popular in the U.S. now with some small breweries, especially in Chicago, Dovetail, Goldfinger. But I also want you to taste German lagers, German Pilsners, and Hefeweizens and all of that. You have Weihenstephaner here, so that's just a great example of a German Hef.
Very good seller for us.
I figure, taste the original if you can. And if you can't, then we'll get you really, really good American ones. And with the American beers, we're the kings of IPAs. So gotta have, and they're all over the place and they're plentiful. So why not have them?
Got to. Speaking of drinking, what was your first choice for us, Bill?
I think my first choice, I don't know if it was my first choice, but it's the one I think will go in a nice order here. The AleSmith, number 13.
Number 13, so it's the AleSmith 394 Pale Ale.
Pale Ale.
Yeah, so let's launch it.
Cheers.
Cheers.
And very good. Ooh,
A little orangey flavor in it.
Yeah.
a little citrus on
Yeah.
that, doesn't it? Yeah.
Not quite. I was expecting it to be clearer, but it is I guess a San Diego style
Yes.
IPA. Still getting the fruit. It's hazy but not milky like some of the big hazies
super sweet.
or sweet ones.
Yeah.
So this has still got a nice hop component to it, but also relatively low ABV, which is nice.
What is that?
6.
A 6? Yeah.
6%, which is nice.
Well, you went to school with Troy here in Lincoln. You're from Lincoln. So
Plus
we'll talk
78.
about that later.
There we
But
go.
I met you through the Brew Club
Yes.
down in Springfield. Through
Yeah,
Springfield.
one of my many beer-related things of the past. I was the president of the Prairie Schooners, which is the homebrew club in Springfield. Did that for several years, and much to my surprise, I think I'll just say surprise. At one meeting, in walks this guy, who I had maybe not seen.
You're like a bad penny
in
to
like,
get rid of.
I did probably been 5 or 6 years since I had seen you. But at the same meeting was another one of our classmates, Dave Johnson, who I probably hadn't seen in like 10 years.
Yeah.
So I think it was shortly after that I decided to quit the club.
Probably a wise choice. Yes.
But no, that kind of started, my involvement sort of locally with beer-related things. It was because of being involved in the homebrew club that I got involved with the Cons, and when they were opening Obed and Isaac's, and with brewing help and things like that. And then that led to working on the SOB Festival. And that led, and everything kind of build on everything else, starting with, years ago, traveling and drinking beers in Portland, Oregon, and coming back to the Midwest and going, oh my goodness, I've got to learn how to make my own beer. And then it just sort of built on all the things that I got involved in, both, with the festival, with the homebrew club. I took some brewing classes at Siebel Institute in Chicago, thinking maybe I'd be a brewer. Then I got too old for that.
Bad choice.
Well, no, it just got to the point. It's like, no, that's a young man's job. I'm not a young man, so I will pour.
You were taking the train up there.
Yeah.
And going to class.
Oh, I didn't know that. Really? What were you doing?
But I'd rather pour beer and talk about beer than to actually have to make it.
Fair enough.
And
Fair enough.
I can blame, if any of the beers at my bar are bad, it's because the people who brewed them messed up.
It wasn't you.
It wasn't me. Unless I didn't clean the lines.
Troy and I have hats and mustaches we put on, and then we go sit out front. So
And we blame
Phantom Brewers.
Exactly.
We blame Jan.
Jan, it's Jan's fault.
Or this Colleen person.
Who?
Don't know
Yeah,
her.
well. She just knows how to drink beer.
She used to.
Oh yeah.
She can't drink anything now.
Yeah, exactly. She's dead. So, moving on to the next beer. Number 7, it's going to be the Rheingeist Terror Bird, correct?
Yeah,
Imperial
let's do
IPA. 8.5%.
I'm gonna finish this one.
Out of Cincinnati.
Ooh, I like that one.
So we almost always have, or frequently we have Rheingeist Truth, which is their base IPA, which is just spectacular. We often have that on. And I hadn't had this one before, so I thought we'd try a bigger IPA from them.
This is good. It's very good. Imperial IPAs always, I guess the best word is scare me. It's like 8.5. How many of those can I eat?
That's nice.
Down, but this one's really, really good.
And I think, that it's still a clear, not a hazy one. The hops get to come through, and you're tasting hops.
Yes.
It tastes like an IPA, not something that used to be an IPA.
We're going to brew one coming up. And I told him I want to call it just another pathetic sheep, but
That's a nice
I
one.
think
You can name it
like
after
the name.
your dearly departed.
There you go, yeah. Formerly known as Colleen.
Or-
The beer formerly known as Colleen.
yeah.
There we go. So,
Might be a little stiff.
I like. That's a good one.
can you do a rim shot? I think we should explore the fact that you knew Troy in high school a little bit. So
I knew
before
of
we do
him.
that, let's go to number 18, which is the Allagash Belgian triple. They call it a triple ale, so I don't know if it's a true triple.
Triple, well,
I think it was a triple
I think
style.
Allagash is one of those brewers that is being very cautious about honoring the style name to where that style originated. You're going to start seeing more brewers who are being very cautious about calling their beer a triple, or calling their beer a double, or calling their beer a Kolsch. They'll say Kolsch style because a Kolsch beer can only come from Cologne.
Gotcha.
An alt beer can only come from Dusseldorf. And I think you're starting to see it with triples and doubles, just honoring the Belgians, that's where those beers come from. Allagash came onto the scene, doing their take on Belgian beers. So I think you'll see them, like they call the Allagash Wit or the Allagash White instead of calling it a wit beer, which is the Belgian original. And I think the same goes for triple, but there are certain brewers I think that are trying to honor that. I know Dovetail and Goldfinger both in the Chicago area call their beers Kolsch style or Vienna style, Helles style. So, because they know that it was Germans who came up with these beers, so they call them style. And I think Allagash is likely to be one of the breweries that would do that.
So, got to tell us about Troy in high school.
Do I?
Yeah. You're trying to purge that from your memory.
Remember that.
It's
Well, the lucky thing is
valid.
I don't remember much of anything from that.
That's good. Very
so
good.
you guys you were running different
I
circles.
mean, I think we probably did. I mean, he did not live far from me.
No, it's about a block from you.
Yeah, we lived close together, but I think we did kind of have our own immediate friend circle, but the extended friend circle involved each other.
Junior high. And
Junior
Carroll
high
kid.
school too. Yeah, he went to the Catholic
Carroll.
school.
You were
I
Carroll
did.
too?
I was
No,
not.
he went to junior high.
Oh, okay.
Junior high. Ooh, yeah.
Sorry.
No, I
sit
did
on
the
the other
Catholic
side
thing.
I'm not a Carroll kid. I was St. Joe's. So, but
Well, that doesn't count. So no, I mean, I think my memory of Troy, I think, is from the one that's coming to my head. It might have been senior year that we had our free hour together, and we played spades a lot.
Oh, a lot, yeah.
Yeah, with other guys in there. We just played cards. Back in the good old days when you could do that. But no, I mean, we were in the same neighborhood, but I think there was that sort of Carroll Catholic side of things, and us public school kids.
Yes.
The
scourge.
The scourge of the public schools of Lincoln, Illinois. Hey, my mom taught me that. Don't know if I was ever a railer.
Oh, if you went to Lincoln High School, you were.
I went to Lincoln High School. I played tennis. That didn't really count.
oh yeah, well, you were a railer. Yeah, you're a tennis railer.
I do have a letter.
There,
See?
Yeah.
He's a letterman.
I should have brought it.
Lincoln High School letterman.
See, now you can add to your resume, Bill Tubbs letterman.
No. Yeah, it's down on the third or fourth page.
All right, so our last beer is going to be number 6. It's going to be the older Irving Goat Destroyer Maibach, and goat is in greatest of all time. So, and on this beer, we're going to talk about the Springfield Oyster and Beer Festival coming up at the end of
August 31st. Yeah,
31st.
I think that's right.
It's the Saturday.
It's the
of
Saturday of Labor Day weekend, and this year it falls on in August instead of September. So I got my cheat sheet out in case you had any
Sweet.
questions.
Perfect.
One of the components of the SOB Festival is there's a higher price ticket for the VIP experience, which includes food, a private area. You can go indoors for air conditioning, use the restrooms, and then there are beers available there that aren't available in the big tent. One of the advantages of a VIP ticket is that you get in a half hour before everyone else.
That's true.
And I always tell people, if you have a VIP ticket, spend that half hour in the big tent before it gets to be a zoo out there, because it will.
Oh, yeah.
Let's talk about out in the Big Ten. How many brewers do you usually have on a SOB?
The average has always been about 50.
50 brewers.
And
That's breweries in one festival. That's pretty good.
It's pretty astonishing. I mean, every year, that I've been involved in it, we plan and we plan and we plan, and you just think about how many things can go wrong, and you think about how much there's still left to do, and the day of, you look up and there's these big empty tents, and everybody starts flowing in, and it just works. It just works every time.
Well, and it is a charity event.
Yep.
So do you guys pick a different charity every year?
Yes, it's a different charity every year. Okay. This year, the recipient is the Legacy Theater in Springfield. I think they started in 2011. I looked that up on the way here.
Smooth.
But they're literally a block away from the site where the festival takes place. And so the Legacy Theater, it is the Springfield Oyster and Beer Festival.
Yes.
So yes, there are lots of oysters, 6,000 oysters.
And Karen's always over there on the cooking the oyster.
I feel so bad for those people. My goodness, they just sit there all day cooking for a bunch of drunk people. So
Hey, wait a minute, I'm one of them.
No, you're a supplier. You're a supplier.
It depends on the hour.
We don't talk about what goes on behind the brewer's table.
Fair enough.
So this year, okay, I'm just going to get some stuff off of here.
Yeah, all right.
Tickets are already available, SOBfestival.com. Physical tickets, you can buy them at Obed and Isaacs in Springfield. I'm going to have VIP tickets available at Terra Ferment.
Okay.
$40 is the general admission, $85 is the VIP. You get a glass, unlimited samples. You've got VIP gets you in at 11:30 instead of 12. A special commemorative glass this year for VIP.
Oh, really?
Gosh, I wonder if I'll get one. Your food is.
You mean you wonder if I'll
your
steal
food-
one?
I'm gonna get it. Okay. VIP also includes food, and you have an area away from all of the others. And then you get a voucher if you get a VIP ticket to go get oysters if you want oysters.
Oh, really?
Which is something that I think they worked on. What? Indoor bathrooms, everyone.
Air conditioned indoor.
Air conditioned indoor. Yeah. Talk about that.
I use that one too.
So there are two bands that will play, me, myself, and Sky, is it? They're the first band, and then the Alina Rollins band. Rain or shine. The tents are 40 by 100 feet long. Food trucks, Eurostop, Mad Dog Concessions, and Twyford Barbecue. And charity this year's Legacy, the Legacy Theater.
And Limerick Brewing Company will be there.
Oh, we will be there.
And they will be the first ones there to set up.
Yes, we will.
Because
we're-
they're just that way.
Well, you're right.
Yeah,
You're right.
yeah.
Bill, thank you so much for coming.
Yes.
We
Glad
appreciate
to be
it.
here.
Thank you.
And that's another episode of Sips. It was probably better because Colleen wasn't here.
Who?
It's nap
Colleen-
time
Colleen
for
who?
Colleen, and she just couldn't make it.
What happened to her again?
Colleen, I don't know. Who's Colleen?
Somebody admitted to killing her earlier.
Thank you all for coming in for another episode of Sips. And cilantro.
Thanks for watching. Now go grab yourself a ticket or two and come see us at the Springfield Oyster and Beer Festival on August 31st. And be sure to visit Bill at Terra Ferment to discover your next favorite beer.